Hello friends and sailors. Welcome to another episode of Sailing Vessel Ania and her Chronicles. Today we're going to talk about a raffle. The idea is that you will be eligible for a win with a day sail with Ania and her crew sometime later next year when it is corona safe. My darling wife and myself, we've just finished with the corona virus and trying to recuperate, so at least we won't be infectious or won't be so afraid of catching anything either. So a day out on the water, but a little bit more about that later. So first of all, I would like to start with a disclaimer that anything you see in these videos are not in any way sponsored by anyone. Should I mention a company or a person or a product, it is because I have selected those and think that they are good to work with or pleasant to work with or something like that. So just to spread the good word out. And a little bit about my experience as well. Another disclaimer, you don't have to do as I do. Please see these videos as a sort of inspiration of what you could be doing and some of my thoughts on how it could be done and what you should think about and what you would try to avoid. In my experience, I've been sailing most of my life, a little bit off and on, had a few periods with motorboats as well. I am also a Master of Science, so I do know a bit of technology, and I have a commercial captain's and a commercial machine engineer's license as well. So if I do have an opinion about something and say something about something, it's usually because I have thought about it or read about it or have experience about it. It doesn't mean that it is the best way or the only way in any way. So if you in the following series see something that you think is wrong, please leave a comment. I would welcome the feedback. We're also going to talk about priorities today, I think. And priorities can be when you find yourself in the situation that you're sitting there with a boat, you have a lot of plans, and your wish list, like for Christmas, is getting longer and longer and longer. So here's a part of the wish list that we have for our sailboat. It contains small and large stuff, expensive and cheap stuff, all types and varieties of stuff. And of course, it is not limited to only this. There is more to be had. Yay! So to take you through the steps that we have been going through might help someone find their footing in this world of expensive products and expensive services. And one of the first questions you should ask yourself is, what is the intended use? If you, for instance, think about where are you actually going to sail? That's a pretty important question to answer, because that would in itself lead to a number of follow-up questions. But if it is a coastal sailing, you might prioritize some things. If it is across the oceans, of course, you will probably need a little bit different kit. The duration of your sails also sets a bit of challenges. If you're going to live for long times aboard, of course, you need a bit more creature comforts. And if you're only doing it as a day sailor, well, the fridge doesn't need to be so big. So duration is important. I think that if you look at the intended use as well, if you're going to go roaming in the wild, you need one set of equipment. And if you do from guest harbor to guest harbor, well, that's something completely different. On our boat, one of the things we had to think about a little bit and talk about was the size of the actual crew. Who is active, who is not, how many will we be on board, and what will be the experience of that crew. Not to forget crew expectations. I mean, if you have someone who likes water skiing, sailing boat in itself is probably not the best thing, but you might consider what a potential dinghy and its motor would look like if you want to do that kind of thing, and so on. And then once you have done that thing with intended use, it's time to start thinking about how could you possibly balance this. And I like to think of 4 different categories of areas where you can sort of slot stuff and activities into. First of them is safety. Safety is always important. Then you have the environment. Whatever you do might actually affect our environment, and I do believe that we should have something for our kids and their kids to go out and experience nature in. Comfort, and then last but not least, aesthetics. And once you started grouping them together like that, it might help you to sort things out a little bit in relationship to one another. Of course, it is important to meet the legal requirements and also whatever requirements your insurance company puts on you. Then if you are competing, there are additional codes and regulations you need to adhere to. All of this can be rather taxing financially, and you have to balance that as well with what kind of maintenance you want to do. How often, how much is going to be actual repairs, and how much is going to be preventative maintenance that you do in advance of something failing. If you go for preventive maintenance and you do that extensively, it is not going to be cheap because marine stuff has a price tag on them, I've found out. Now, the idea is probably to balance all these things together. So take you through a couple of things that we have been considering with Ania. First of all, we intend to be, at least the first few years, to be sailing in the archipelago. We might do a beat up to Finland or go to Gotland or down to Denmark or Germany or something like that, across the Baltic Sea. Just to give you an idea, this is the Baltic Sea outside of Blekinge. That is what I will call mostly coastal sailing, close to shore. However, the Baltic Sea is to be respected as well. A few years back we had a wave record of 14 meters, and it can blow hurricane strength. So the idea for us is to focus on being able to manage in a storm, but not to get caught out in actual hurricanes over 34 meters per second of wind strength. In terms of crew size, I'm probably the sailor in the family, and my wife and the 19-year-old son wants to learn. So I consider myself to have to be able to sail solo, and sometimes I actually go out on the boat alone, but I do prefer company. I think it's nicer. And we will be spending a lot of time in various nooks and crannies off the beaten path. So we need to be fairly independent and be able to sort of survive for a couple of days without actually having shore power or anything like that. Crew expectations would probably be considered fun, sailing, good weather, bathing, swimming, exploring, and not so much the flying or water skiing kind. In the days to come, I will take you through a couple of more of these activities that we intend to do over the few upcoming months before we splash the boat again. And as I said, feel free to comment, share, like, or subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the wider the net grows. And for that purpose, we have thought of doing a raffle this Christmas. So starting today, as this episode is going official, if you subscribe and find a friend or someone else who also subscribes, you are free to enter into the comment section down below and just say that want to enter the raffle. And in February, on February 5th, we will draw the winner out of those who have been able to enter this competition. So the win is a day sail. We will feed you, but you will have to get to Stockholm on your own. That's not part of the price, but the experience of enjoying the Stockholm archipelago in what I hope to be nice weather under nice conditions on a well-kept boat, that's the price. And you also get to meet me and my darling wife, of course. The winner will be announced as well. I will do a movie on the actual drawing of the lottery tickets, and the winner will be announced, as I said, on February 5th. So best of luck, enjoy, and if you see this is the first shot with the GoPro camera. So with all that talk, here is the work list or checklist for the winter. Not limited to these activities, of course, because as you go along, you might find new stuff. To conclude, we wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and please share, like, subscribe, and tell your friends. See you later.